And it's Gary French from Australia to kick off for Castleford. New Zealanders have made a total clean sweep. Well, not quite total. Kevin Ero survives from the defeat at St Helens, the 27-26 surprise late defeat. They're giving the remaining 13 or the remaining 12 a chance tonight. And it's half-back Phil Bancroft who had a spell with Rochdale Hornets, who pumps that into touch. And Robin Whitfield ruling a forward pass. Robin Whitfield of Widnes. So the first attempt at a move by the Kiwis falling down on a simple error. Castleford healing it. And it's Sean Owen. Martin Ketteridge. Kevin Beardmore acting halfback. French was there bringing the big forwards, and yes, Robin Whitfield indicating that the punch went in on Paul Crabtree. Good deep kick by Martin Kedridge, sending up Castleford into a good attacking position. They take it quickly. John Joyner and Andy Clark, ex-Wakefield Rugby Union, a good drive by him onto the 25. Kevin Beardmore is acting half-back. And it's Crabtree slamming forward. That's good running. In fact, that was a break by Dean Sampson. Still Castleford going forward. Kevin Beardmore, the short one to Ketteridge. Gary French. Up comes Andy Clark. Gary French, the high bomb, a really high 1-2. That's a real tester. Bouncing around and knocked dead in a bit of panic by Teo Ropati. So a lively start by Cass. That'll be a dropout from under the post. High bomb by Gary French. Good crowd here tonight at Weldon Road, despite the hammering at Warrington. They enjoy their rugby. They've turned up in force to see Darryl Vandervelde's side redeem themselves tonight. Once again, Clark makes progress. Once again, Kevin Beardmore starts the move, bringing in John Joyner. Up now, close to the 25. Consistent pressure this by Cass. Joyner trying to slip French through. And Beardmore this time, well, he's not able to unload the ball. Joyner to England internationals there. That's another good kick, and well, they were lucky to grab that because two of them bumped into each other. It was Teo Ropati who came up with it. Back Morgan Edwards. And it's the tourists who are trying to blast their way out of trouble through Brent Todd. Francis Leota. Castleford tackling going in hard. Well, that's pretty strange. That looks as if a boot got to it or some sort of charge down, but it's put Castleford back in possession and on attack. Hunter slipped away well. Andy Clark. Some of these young forwards will be very anxious to impress in the absence of such as Kevin Ward and Keith England and Ron Gibbs. Three powerful names there. Oh, beautiful ball! Superb ball from Beardmore. Well, it's still moving. But Smith almost lost his way. French keeps it alive. Some superb handling this by Cass. Penalty. Offside at the play of the ball. In fact, the mime could indicate he was stealing the ball, but certainly the outcome is a penalty. And it could be first points to Castleford. The move was worth it. Beautiful move. Started off by Kevin Beardmore. 4 or 5 handled it in pretty desperate measures by the New Zealanders. It's Ian St. John Ellis who kicked a lot of goals for York to take it. He's well wide, so a chance for Cass to go 2 up. New Zealand is under a lot of pressure tonight because they expected to win comfortably against a weakened St Helens side and lost, and it's certainly a weakened Castleford side tonight with so many key men missing. If the New Zealanders don't win tonight and win with some degree of style, their credentials will look less impressive. Clark. Beardmore. Joyner turning it inside. Beardmore. French. Smith trying to slip through. Castleford keeping it moving. We've not seen anything on attack yet from the tourists. That's French. Oh, beautifully taken. Beautifully caught. Morgan Edwards. Well, he's been thrown back either into touch, but no, he manages to hold on, but he was being taken back. It's Taewa. Inside their own half. Taewa. That's second row, Nikau. Still the tourists unable to slip this tight Castleford defence. The kick's on. Bancroft banging it deep down, but well taken by Gibson. Gary French is acting half-back this time. No score as yet, but the more lively football coming from the home side, Castleford, coached by Australian Darryl van der Velde. Well, 3 men went into that tackle. French again, he's using these deep kicks. Obviously been told to do that as a tactic. Morgan Edwards has been pretty safe so far. And he's running well. What a good run. Went sideways to a great extent, but beat a couple of men on the way. New Zealand not able to get away cleanly from their own quarters. Now perhaps. That was a lovely short ball. That's a good break. Now we got some speed. Kevin Hero. What a good tackle. But New Zealand now in cry for the line for the first time. Bancroft moving it out to Wayne Wallace, but it breaks down. Bit of crossing, and it's a penalty. It's Brendan Tutor, the man the Australian commentators called a baby-faced assassin. Hasn't shown any mischief as yet. Again, a good deep kick from Martin Ketteridge. And Castleford on the ball. Clark. Joyner looking to part with the ball. Had he done so, I think it would have gone to the Kiwi hand. Short kick this time by French, varying his kicks all the time. Teo Party, and the Party lost it and played Cass on. They've 6 tackled and they're close to the line. And up in the line is Gibson. Great chance for Cass. There's one of the big fellas, Dean Sampson. Beardmore wanting what sort of a move to work here, putting it back to French. French showing it one way and bundled down by Tutor. Beardmore. And was that a high tackle? Mr. Whitfield certainly thinks so. Tutor bringing down Kevin Beardmore. Looks as if he's been garroted, and perhaps we now begin to understand why Brendan Tutor gets called the baby-faced assassin. There he is. Innocent as a newborn babe, but he certainly nearly took Kevin Beardmore's head off, and this surely should be 2 points. Well, Martin Kettridge can kick goals, but they've been entrusted so far to Ian St. John Ellis. This time it's there. That's first blood to Cass. Castleford 2, New Zealand 0. Playing just under quarter of an hour. A worrying time this for the Kiwis. St. Helens defeat, and now they trail again. For them, I suppose, the tour hasn't yet taken off. And nicely fielded. Playing with plenty of confidence, Cass at the moment. It was Crabtree who fielded that, and that's Andy Clark, who's certainly making his presence felt. He's deputising for Kevin Ward in more ways than one. In that number 8 jersey, Gary French. These kicks must be knocking the heart out of these. Oh, what a beauty! What a magnificent kick by Gary French. Taking play from one end of the field to the other. Well, the head on the ball, the loose head on the feed, will be to the Kiwis, which is the only consolation they can get out of this particular move. Well, they get it. Bancroft going foraging for it, deciding not to unload so close to his own post. And coming in from the wing, Teo Party, brother of Joe, who had a spell with Warrington. Well, a shout for forward pass as Brent Todd, who had a spell with Wakefield, comes into it. Oh, that's a nice short ball, and what a lovely break. Oh, he couldn't unload it. That was Leota, and another chance is lost. Good break by Leota, but when he looked to pass the ball, he couldn't quite get it away, and it's Cass coming back with Dean Sampson. It's ceremoniously thumped down, but the forwards, the Cass forwards, trying to, a little too ambitious there, and it's on the ground, and too many knock-ons in a row for Mr. Whitfield's liking. It's 2-0 to Cass. Just that penalty by St. John Ellis. Out on the Castleford side, picked up by John Joyner, working the blind side with French. St. Ellis, Beardmore, Clark, Well, he shrugs off 2 tackles. He's really having a good game in his first 20 minutes as the former Wakefield Rugby Union player. Fighting to get away from the tackle. Again, the short side. Joyner. Mike Gibson is up. Dean Sampson walking over a couple of black and white jerseys. Again, the kick is bouncing anyway. It could be another try by French. It certainly is. The New Zealanders fail to make it dead, and Gary French touches down his own kick. Gary French, who's been tormenting the life out of the Kiwis with these kicks. That one was fumbled by 2 defenders, and French was there to dive on it. Well, the New Zealanders in a cluster behind their own goal. Talking tactics, but really the tide is going against them again. 7-0 down to St Helens on Saturday, fought back to lead 26-15 before losing it, so we can't draw too much significance from this, but they've rarely troubled Castleford. Yes, and that's another goal, so Castleford go into an 8-0 lead with that goal from St Genellis. Scores away, they've got to score a converted try and at least a penalty goal to get level. That's going dead well. What a waste of possession, but that'll be a penalty on the halfway line. The ball going dead from the kickoff. Phil Bancroft walking back very unhappily. Martin Kettridge has a prodigious boot. And yet again Castleford attack. It's unrelenting pressure, this. Kevin Beardmore calling the shots. It's Clark who made the first drive. There's John Joyner, Crabtree. Former centre, of course, international centre, good user of the ball, very constructive with forward now. He and Beardmore are the senior men. Beardmore selling a dummy, and ooh, Evans, if he hadn't lost his feet, that could have been try number 2. Maybe on its way anyway. Joyner, kick ahead, and brings his man down. That will be a drop out under the post. Continuous pressure by Cass, who lead by 8-0. And what can they do to relieve this stranglehold? Well, they find a bit of a gap and save a few seconds. His teammates to get up. Tackled there by Mike Coiti, who had a spell with Swinton. Going on the blind side and attempting to slip down the touchline. It's a dangerous break. Is Cass prepared to move it wide? French, Sampson. Beardmore, French. Short ball for the forwards to run onto. And these young forwards making the most of their promotion. Oh yes, that's Andy Clark. Big Andy Clark. No trouble. No trouble at all. Easy. Well, when Andy Clark took that pass, a huge gap opened and he went round the fullback, Morvin Edwards, as if he wasn't there. And when a front row forward sidesteps a fullback, the Kiwis have got to ask a lot of serious questions about their defence. But it's the Castleford fans who are loving this, and St Janellis who can make it 14-0. And does. Already with 25 minutes gone. It's Castleford. They're threatening to run away with this. The side that played at St Helens had 12 internationals in it. This one might be regarded, with the exception of Kevin Hero, as by and large the reserve side. But it does indicate the thinness of talent, because there are a lot of reserves in the Castleford side too, but it's the Cats reserves, like the Saints reserves, who are lifting themselves against the tourists. And yet another penalty for offside against New Zealand. Life pretty miserable for the tourists at the moment. Again, Ketteridge, a great wallop into touch. Any maximum yardage. Martin Ketteridge, he's doing the line kicking, St Janellis doing the goal kicking, and both doing it very well. And Gary French, a third kicker, doing the open field tactical kicking. Sampson. Beardmore. Ketteridge. Clark. That's Crabtree. And Ketteridge wanting to get it away, and a rare break for New Zealand as Ketteridge tried to slip that out and lost possession. And it's Tuta. Wayne Wallace, skipper tonight. How's he going to raise his side? They could do with a score before half-time. Need some points on the board. Well, that was an attempt to open it up by Francis Leota. Kevin Hero. And he lost the ball. Referee Whitfield says play on. The ball taken off. Kevin Hero. Beardmore the dummy. Cass putting on quite an exhibition tonight, as if anxious to show to their fans that it was all a big mistake at Warrington on Saturday. Well, Andy Clark certainly went down hard then. Ketteridge. Castleford going forward. Yet again, they've spent most of the first half. Heads I lose. That's Brendan Tuta. Switching it out to the wing Taiwa, but it's all very sloppy and messy, and it's a knock on. And for only the second time in this first half, they're within a shout of the line. And a penalty now. They could decide 2 points in the bag. Brent Todd didn't have too distinguished a spell at Wakefield. And an opportunity for the Kiwis to break their duck. Phil Bancroft.
12,000 miles for one sodding kick goal.
Well, this would make the score 14-2, which is marginally better than 14-0. He makes sure, and it's 14-2. The first points for New Zealand. Will that encourage them? They're a long way behind. They're a minimum of 2 converted tries behind. And almost up to the half hour. Castleford 14. New Zealand 2. French. Well, Morgan Edwards trying to make up for... In fact, it's not Morgan Edwards, that's the wing Wetu Taiwa. And second row forward Nikau, who came on a sub on Saturday. Now, has that livened the Kiwis? It's Leota. Todd. They're acting half-back. Wallace, the skipper. And robbing and harassing at the play the ball. So, a penalty now then. A kick to touch and 6 tackles to run it. They certainly could do with a try to narrow this gap. Bill Bancroft. Now then, what can they do on this platform? Brent Todd. The first drive by Todd. Wallace. Intricate move. Bancroft throwing it out, slipping it out to Clark. Now a little more spring in the New Zealanders' step now. Tuta. Is this a possibility? No. Good tackling as Mike Kuiti almost slipped through. That's a good tackle by Joyner. But it's Tuta looking to give it out. No, not a knock-on, says Mr. Whitfield. Gary French begs to differ. Bancroft and Clark. Kevin Hero, yes! A dummy and a lovely try. He sent the defence the wrong way. Kevin Hero. And as they obligingly went to their left, he went to his and finished under the post. So a sudden spurt of scoring by the tourists, but you won't convince the Castleford fans that it didn't all start from a knock-on. But a well-taken try by Hero, well worked by the halfbacks. And if he kicks this, it'll be 14-8, and it gives New Zealand a chance to do something in the second half to make up for yet another nightmare start. Lovely try by Kevin Hero. He's a big, strong lad. It was a good dummy, and it was a nice move between Bancroft and Clark, the halfbacks that set it up. That's 14-8. Well, that looks a whole lot healthier than 14-0. It's 14-8. And we're just past the half-hour mark. Castleford 14, New Zealand 8. And it was noticeable after that penalty by Phil Bancroft that suddenly the New Zealanders began to put their act together and move the ball with a little more purpose, and it brought the try. It's Kevin Hero, who wasn't expected to play tonight, but was brought into the side. Wigan centre. Two of them there. Well, I hope one of them called for it. And yet again they have to force their way to the other end. That's Kurt Sherlock. I haven't seen a great deal of him as yet. Bancroft and Nikau. The Kiwi forwards queuing up to take that and try to break away. Wayne Wallace turned it inside this time. Well, good running by Tairopati, and the ball moving well. This is good. This is good running. That's an 2 tackles easily slipped. Good running this. Excellent running. Are they going to tie it up? Kevin Hero sold one dummy too many, I think, then. He had support on the outside, Kevin Hero. He thought they'd buy the dummy a second time, and that was a chance thrown away. He had men on his outside. Tewa was there. But Kevin Hero thought it had worked once, it would work again. But there's no doubt about it that the Castleford defence has suddenly shown itself vulnerable. It's Tony Marchand. And with 32 minutes gone, the New Zealanders in possession could yet exploit it. Castleford 14, New Zealand 8. French with the kick. And well taken by Edwards to Tewa. The New Zealanders suddenly beginning to believe in themselves. Rupati running onto the ball, running into support, and finding gaps that weren't there in the first 20 minutes in the Castleford defence. Kuiti. Bancroft moves it out to Clark. Wallace. Bancroft taking a leaf out of French's book, but finding Gibson, who returns the kick. That's quite a big one too, but it looks like it's going to go dead. But yes, it has. But the restart is within Kiwi territory, so Gibson's ploy certainly drove the Kiwis back. It's Wallace. Bancroft and Leota. Oh, that's a good break by Tuta. What good strong running, but he's taken into touch. That's the first time we've seen Brendan Tuta really open up, but when he looked inside there was nobody there and he was finally forced into touch. But we're seeing enough in the second half of the first half, the second 20 minutes, to indicate that the New Zealanders might have something up their sleeves in the second. They've found their legs, they've found their confidence. They're without possession at the moment as Smith gets it out. 14-8 to Cass after it was 14-0 and Cass well on top. Kettridge. Beardmore. Kevin Beardmore, Joyner. Big Andy Clark again. He's had a good first half and has celebrated with a try. Up there is Gibson. Kettridge showing the ball and breaking through. A good break. A good pass to Beardmore. Good rugby. Super rugby. Crabtree. Suddenly the defence open up. Kevin Beardmore. Superb break, and Paul Crabtree powers over under the post. And suddenly, just as we thought that the New Zealanders were coming right back into contention, a little bit of sleight of hand from Kevin Beardmore and the initial break from Martin Kettridge make it 18-8 with a kick under the post. So this could restore the 12 points margin. It's simple enough for St. Janellis. Over it goes. No trouble at all. And we've had 37 minutes. Well, that's a stunner for the Kiwis. They'd really got back into the game at 14-8. We're beginning to get on top. Marchand. Where is it? St. Janellis. Dean Sampson deciding to go down the touchline himself. Doesn't quite end up in touch. Inevitable Beardmore. Just taking their turn to take it up. That's Andy Clark. And Robin Whitfield catches the New Zealanders coming off offside. There was a loud injunction from members of the crowd. Sure, they didn't influence Mr. Whitfield. He made his own judgment. Again, that great, huge kick to touch. Wonderful ground gainer, Martin Ketteridge. And can take place, kicks at goal too. That's Dean Sampson. Well, another try to cast before half-time would give New Zealand the proverbial Everest to climb. Crabtree, the last try scorer. Beardmore, French. Thrown out by Tony Smith. Sean Owen. Tony Smith, and slipping the ball out. He's getting close to the 25 again. Cass in a very dangerous position. As Beardmore brings in Joyner, and that rolls free. Certainly a knock on. Well, he may play on with possession. Mr. Whitfield playing advantage. Oops. Kevin Hero trying to shrug men off. He's a strong lad. But it's McAllister and Marchant who bring him down. This time it's Cass who are caught. Offside. Oh no, this time not letting him play the ball. Oh, Bancroft not able to get quite the length with his kicks to touch of Ketteridge. Well, there's only minutes to go before half-time, and certainly the New Zealanders could do with a try to open up the second half. But the pass had to be juggled with by Bancroft. And already we have a sub on for New Zealand. With Gary Freeman. Gary Freeman with the kick. Well, Freeman, oh, that was easily slipped on the touchline. Freeman, very experienced half-back, and obviously Tony Gordon, the New Zealand coach, feels he's got to get a few older heads on there. So Cass trying to blast away from their own line with Andy Clark. It's very close to half-time. Dean Sampson, good running. Ketteridge, he really gives it a whack, and the New Zealanders have got to come all the way back from that. What a kick, there's the flag. What a prodigious kick by Martin Ketteridge. From inside his own 25, virtually to the Kiwi line. What a heartbreaker. Kiwis should get this. Whether they can run that far is open to doubt. They haven't time. So a very, very healthy first half for Castleford, much less so for the tourists. They've scored one try by Kevin Hero, but the tries have been coming at the other end. And the half-time score, Castleford 20, New Zealand 8. New Zealand to kick off. They trail by 20 points to 8. They have a lot to do in this half. Tony Gordon, the coach, will no doubt have a lot to say to them at half-time, and probably with assistance from the tour managers who will say, look, 2 defeats in the first 2 games is not going to do a lot for the financial security of the tour, let alone the playing side of it. And at the moment they're halfway towards the second defeat, and Castleford playing with a lot of confidence. Slipped on quickly, that bit of a trip by Tyward, and he looks like he almost fell over Robin Whitfield. Oh, that's good running, good ball, they're trying to keep it alive. There's Gary Freeman getting it out to Kevin Hero, cropped up on the wing. And so we've got Freeman, a little general on the field. That's a penalty. Offside, so what will they do? Will they have a go at goal, or will they try to run it and go for 6 points? Bancroft. Brent Todd being asked if he wants a drink of water and politely declining, or whatever's in there. And Phil Bancroft is going to have a go at goal. Well, it'll make it 2010. And early in the second half, you can't really give up gifts. Plenty of time to go in for the big scores. And the penalty successful now would give the New Zealanders heart. Cascade doing the bird. Not a Kiwi. There's the angle. There's the distance. Any second now we'll have the kick. He got it. Well, that's a good fillip for New Zealand. Phil Bancroft kicks the goal, and it's 20 points to 12 in the opening minutes of the second half. So a little bit of stimulus. They've got a long way to come back, but that's a beginning. Points to 10. I've been giving the New Zealanders 2 points more than they have on the scoreboard. It's 20 points to 10. They're 20 points to 8 at half time. Now Brent Todd. Neat kick ahead and good running. And well fielded, well picked up by Sean Irwin. It kicked the play the ball, so Andy Clark has to go down. St. John Ellis is prepared to get up and run again, but found his way barred by Kevin Bibb, who was ready to play acting halfback. A fairly highish tackle on Dean Sampson. And that was thrown a little loosely, but well tidied up by Martin Ketteridge. Nice break, Gary French. Suddenly accelerated. Well, you can tell by the groans from the crowd that went in to touch on the fall. So New Zealand to run it. Knock on if the referee did. Well, what a thing to do, Wayne Wallace. Oh dear, dear, dear. Knock on when you've got a penalty of 6 tackles to go, and before the move even starts, a knock on. Castleford. McAllister. Oh, good strong running. They don't manage to throw him into touch. And exhorting the referee to get New Zealand onside, but that's a common home complaint. Visiting sides are always offside. That was a dangerous one. Freeman was lurking for the interception. That's Owen French again with the kick. Bouncing reasonably kindly for Rapati. Well, that's good running by Edwards. And Taewa. Another penalty. Well, they wanted a penalty for offside, but they wanted it the other way. Phil Bancroft. Bancroft and his men up. They played quickly. Bancroft looking for a gap, looking for support. There was no one quite up. Mike Coiti almost got there. Mikau to Wallace. The tackling good. Like a loss of several yards. And there's Tuta. Wallace. Todd. Oh, good ball to Rapati. But he's got a lot of touchline to go into rather more than to manoeuvre in. But he kept it inside. And it's Bancroft. Nikau. This is good rugby, this. What a solid tackle. Still they keep it moving. The kick bouncing around and picked up by St. John Ellis. Oh, good solid running. He's certainly run his weight, Dean Sampson, as indeed of all the Castleford forwards, including the newcomers who are in for Gibbs and Ward and England. They take some replacing. French. Back goes Edwards. Oh, that's nice running. Well, 4 men round him, but he kept going. Wallace. The short balls. All keeping moving as Sherlock takes it up. Freeman to Bancroft. Tuta. Rapati and Ocon. Tony Marchant asking for the ball. Unfortunate there because it had the makings of a good break, and Teo Rapati can certainly move. 20 points to 10. Castleford lead. French. Ooh, as the tackle goes in from Sherlock. Really hard one. It's McAllister. Managed to get it away to Smith. But it's Castleford driving over the 25. And the crowd getting behind them, roaring for another try, which could well take Cass out of reach. Oh, the eye taken off the ball. That's a quick change of defence into attack. But Tuta didn't really know what to do with that. Had a certain uncertainty, but the attack continues. Front row forward, Leota. Moving into Castleford territory. Good crashing burst by Brent Todd, but he doesn't get very far. Andy Clark brings him down, assisted by Martin Ketteridge. Freeman the dummy, moving it the other way. Nikau running well, and a lovely inside ball. Freeman got himself. What a good dummy. He was in the flag. The dummy was a beauty, but the tackle was superb. It took him out at the flag. Well, I think Gary Freeman must have thought he'd scored then when he sold that dummy. So close, but a superb tackle put him out at the flag. But that move showing that New Zealand's still not out of it, although they trail 20-10. Ketteridge. Bit more purpose in the Kiwi tackling now, and plenty of purpose in the Castleford forward play. There has been throughout the game, as Kevin Beardmore getting roughed up, and Mr. Whitfield says that's enough. Got to let him play the ball. Martin Ketteridge says, yeah, give it to me, I'll bang it into touch. Taking a few deep breaths, but happy enough to kick this. And again he cracks it into the New Zealand half. So Castleford, they got 3 tries in the first half. They're looking for the first of the second. Ketteridge releasing the ball. A kick ahead, and he got it. That's Nikau. Well, he's wanting to unload it. He'd have been better off, I think, holding on to that. And really, I think Nikau there's showing a bit of inexperience. If he'd held on to that, he could have played the ball and allowed support to come up. He was so desperate to open it up, he threw that loose pass. Nikau getting into the pack. What a strong push. That could be dead ball. Yes, up again. Castleford 20, New Zealand 10. And less than half an hour to go in this second half, and there's a good break. Sean Irwin, the man who drove into the New Zealand half. Ketteridge gets it away to Smith. Good stuff this by Castleford. They're in full cry for another try. Edwards just a little nearer. There's the line looming up. The tackles are running out. It's Beardmore, the big forward you can expect running onto this. Oh, he's lost possession. Picked up by Nikau. Well, that could have been another plunge over, but the ball was lost. It's Rapati. Gets it away to Kevin Hero. Kevin Hero going up the touchline. Strongly ball. Excellent tackle by McAllister. Dogged him all the way. And it's front row forward Leota. Runs like a second row man. He's by no means huge. That's Todd. And the Kiwis going forward as if conscious of the fact they've just had a narrow let-off. They're going to make the most of it. With Freeman quickly as the tackle comes in. Tuta not able to get it away. And it's the handover. Mr. Whitfield going to the New Zealand side. That was the 6th tackle. Ketteridge. French floating out the long one to McAllister. New Zealanders certainly have tightened up their tackling in this half after conceding those 3 tries. Again, a nifty little kick by French. And a knock on. Unfortunately for New Zealand, they're not able to pick up the scraps when they're offered. And that knock-on will give loose head and feed to Gary French. Tony Marchant went up to whisper something in Gary French's ear as if he's working a move. French not involved in it. Smith moving it out. Crabtree. Dummy by Kevin Beardmore. Again, it's Cass in sight of the Kiwi posts. Crabtree to French, to Smith. McAllister, Tony Marchant's there. Into touch just at the corner. Tony Marchant almost squeezing in at the corner. And the Kiwis getting the anticipated possession. Ropati. Oh, forward set a card and the ball lost by Brent Todd. Brent Todd a little disgusted with himself. The captain Wayne Wallace also a little disgusted. It's not coming right for the Kiwis, and time is beginning to slip away. There's time for a couple of tries. Either way, it's Castleford who should heal this one. Well, bodies all the way around the scrum, and inevitably, well, I thought he might have given offside there against Nico, but instead he contents himself with saying scrum down again. Gary French, this time it does come out. Smith, Irwin, Cass keeping up the attack. Kettridge straightening up. Oh, slipped a beauty of a pass inside. Crowd applauding that one, and it's not over yet. Kevin Beardmore. Well, Crabtree could be in for his second. He's so close. About 18 inches away. Looked to be a gap there. Gary French, he's going to drop a goal. Well, not like that. Might be a goal at Anfield or Goodison Park or Ellen Road, but certainly not here. Gary French trying the drop, but never getting it off the ground. Leota. Well, been one or two let-offs for the Kiwis, but now they're moving with Kevin Hero. Running strongly, but again well tackled, knocked down by French, getting across to cover, helped by Gibson. Freeman getting it back from Bancroft and selling a dummy. He wants someone to come up and take it. There was no one there. Played. Kevin Hero wastes one of the play the balls. Bancroft. Wallace. Just a little nearer. This is good running by Leota. The ball floated out into the second row. Nikau, and again it's lost. So many chances have been thrown away by the Kiwis. Now the touch judge signalling that Kevin Beardmore went into touch, so a chance for the Kiwis to heal with the advantage of the head and ball. So put a couple of subs on. There's Kevin Hero. And a loose-ish pass. I think that was deliberate by Bancroft, getting it away. Freeman finding Taiwa. He gets it inside too. To Queety. Freeman. Sherlock. Ropati. Well, the tackling good and strong. And it has to be, because New Zealand are pouring into the attack with Bancroft. Freeman inside. It's Todd brought down. They're very close to line now and very close to a score. Tuta to Bancroft. To Wallace. Trying the short one. Again, it's dropped and lost. Again, so much good handling. So much good pressure. Castleford through Dean Sampson. Sean Owen slips one tackle and makes a good 20 yards. French, he's gaining ground all the time and driving back the Kiwis. Edwards. He doesn't get very far. And we're almost midway through the second half with Castleford holding that lead of 20 points to 10. We've had just the one score in this half, the penalty by Bancroft, and yet again lost possession. That time it was Mike Kuiti who dropped it, and that could be very, very costly for New Zealand. Beardmore, Ketteridge, these big hefty Castleford forwards are blasting huge holes in the New Zealand defence, which in all fairness has tightened up a lot since half time. That's French to Irwin. Well, painful knock, but he'll get up and play the ball. And Beardmore, there's a knock on. And the New Zealanders have it. Nikau. Very promising young forward. They've great faith in him in the New Zealand camp. They're thinking, come on, well, what a lovely break by Bancroft. What good running. Kevin Hero. Hero tending to do quite a lot on his own bat. Perhaps you can't blame him. He's the only man to have gone through for a try in this match, but he's gained a lot of ground and a lot of momentum with Wallace. Oh, beautiful running, Tearopati. Can he get the ball out? Again, the last pass goes adrift, but it's not. Can he touch down? The line's there. Wayne Wallace. Wayne Wallace had to go round the maple to touch that down. But good work by Bancroft, by Kevin Hero, Tearopati, and finally Wayne Wallace, the skipper, having to go all the way round to touch down in the corner. Sheer determination, but a captain's try, and Wallace has put the Kiwis in with a shout now at 20-14 with the kick to come. Just over a quarter of an hour of the match left, so there is time, but it's a vital kick, this one is, for Bancroft. Bancroft, if he lands this, it'll put the Kiwis in a position where another converted try could snatch them the game. It's a difficult one. It's away on the right-hand touchline. If he lands this, it'll be a beauty, and so valuable. Magnificent, a superb kick, and even the Castleford supporters who were willing him not to kick it have to join in the applause. Well, that really has set up a good finish. And the score now narrow at Castleford 20, New Zealand 16, which is a whole lot different than the half-time gap of 20 points to 8. The scoring in the second half being done by the Kiwis. Bancroft, a beautiful kick from touch, just had the length, and the penalty. Now, if that's, is he going to play the ball or bang it into touch? Here's a chance for New Zealand to run it. I think Wayne Wallace is saying there's time left to make it 2018. Tactical decision by Wayne Wallace, but Bancroft has been kicking well. He gets a tap on the back from Gary Freeman saying, come on, you can do it. Certainly a thrilling fight back this by the Kiwis. It's a long one, but it's pretty straight. He showed that he could get the length with that last kick from the touchline from Wallace's try. And what a humdinger of a finish we'll have if he lands this. Probably have one anyway at 2016. Phil Bancroft. Great stuff, Bancroft. 20 points to 18. And if the tourists do manage to snatch this one out of the fire, this man will have played a major role with his kicks. 20 points to 18. Now it's close. Well, we may have as thrilling a finish in this second game of the tour as we had in the first, when St Helens won it right at the death, and Kelly Shelford might have kicked a goal for New Zealand. Well, running from acting half-back and gaining something like 20 yards. Full-back Edwards, forward, say the crowd. Mr. Whitfield does not agree, so Brent Todd continues, and now the New Zealanders really have the bit between their teeth. Leota. Heavy tackle. But it's Kurt Sherlock who's still moving. And Freeman with Bancroft and Kevin Hero. No one up there to take it on the runaround. But the Kiwis at 20-18 down in full cry as Brent Todd bangs that high into the air. Oh, a second attempt, third attempt. St. John Ellis takes it, but he must have had a few hearts in their mouths then. Solid tackle by Nico. Castleford, now after playing such excellent, dominating rugby in the first half and scoring those 3 tries, now trying to hang on to a 2-point lead. And Gary French, whose kicks were so destructive in the first half, is now finding them coming back. Edwards. Kevin Hero goes to the touchline again, but this time 4 tacklers to bring him down. Kevin Hero, big strong player, takes men with him. Kiwis trying to build a platform for a sweeping attack. There's Freeman. Sherlock. Sustained rugby this. Cass will do well to hold it out. Freeman. Bancroft. Nikau. Kuiti. Wallace. Oh, dropped on the line by Todd. And that could have been the try of the match and the try that won it, but the final transfer to Todd. Brent Todd leaves the field injured. And French is mobbed as he gets possession. But Brent Todd was so close to giving New Zealand the lead then. That's a lovely move. The final transfer went adrift. And now then, can they move it out? Bancroft going himself inside to Sherlock. Tutor. Still no room. Wallace going it wide. Leota. So close. The Castleford crowd so tense now. What a finish. Kuiti. The tackle's running out. To the touchline. Ropati hasn't got a lot of room. Inside to Freeman. They're pushed back. Cass holding out as Freeman plays the ball. Nikau. Wayne Wallace acting half-back. Can they work a move? Freeman going through himself! Freeman! And he's dragged down on the line. It's the last one. Bancroft inside. Tutor floats it out and on. Second row forwards and a knock on. Teo Party knocking on, and how many tries have gone a-begging in the last pass? 2 in the last 3 minutes. But what a thrilling finish this is. Just over 10 minutes remaining, and Cass, by the look of things, have run out of a bit of steam, and it's the New Zealanders who are scenting victory, though they trail by 20 points to 18, but they're missing the chances. Several yards from the Castleford line, time and again the ball has been lost. There's French trying to clear his ground with a good clearing kick, and the crowd applauding that. Gary French's kicking has been one of the features. Head and ball to the Kiwis. And coming out to Gary French, but Mr. Whitfield doesn't like it. So a second chance for the New Zealanders to get it out, and they do. Bancroft decides not to unload. But what a different performance this is from the tourists, from that rather shapeless and feeble effort of the first half when they only played for 10 minutes. Leota. They're moving forward. Running onto it, Kuiti. Oh, he ran onto that so well. He wants support. It was lacking at the vital moment. Freeman, the kick through. Oh, that's good running by Ellis. First one way, then the other, and getting away from his own line. He's hurt. Play the ball, says Whitfield. The trainer will come on to deal with him while play continues around him. That's Clark. And certainly these young forwards, as Sampson, have not had it all their own way as they did in the first half, but they're trying to clear their lines. Oh, that's a lovely ball. Good running by Smith. Beardmore. Now Ketteridge deciding to run with it. And now, for the first time for 20 minutes, Castleford are hammering the New Zealand line. There's the high bomb by Gary French. Underneath it, Rapati and Edwards, and a penalty for offside. Well, it's pretty tense, and you hear what the crowd think of that decision, but quite firm. And it sets up New Zealand for another play. Trying a host of moves now. But Castleford moving up quickly. Not allowing Goulding, who's come on as sub, to move. Oh, is there a gap there? It's good running. Tremendous running. Could be a try by Sherlock. What a comeback by New Zealand. And Kurt Sherlock makes the incisive break that could well give New Zealand the victory they need in this second match of the tour. They looked dead and buried at half-time, or at least half dead, when it was 21 points to 8. 20 points to 8 to Castleford. And there's Kurt Sherlock, who took a pass and went beautifully down the left-hand side. to make it 22-20. Four minutes of normal time remaining, plus any added time for injury. 22 points to 20. The New Zealanders lead. Who would have thought that at half-time with that 28 scoreline and a rather poor performance in the first half, but this man's goal kicking has had a lot to do with the comeback. It's given his team heart and points. Another difficult one. And the crowd hooting and howling at the time he's taking and very disgruntled. That one's wide. So can we have a grandstand finish from Cass? The crowd booing some of Robin Whitfield's decisions. They feel that they've gone against Cass, and that's how that try by Sherlock was set up. But how beautifully it was taken. James Goulding, who's come on as sub, made a break, and Sherlock was up there on the left to scorch through, pull himself out of 2 tackles and score. Disappointment for Cass. If it continues like this, a great morale booster for the tour. And Tuta dropped it. And Brendan Tuta drops the ball under his own post, so that's head and ball to Cass. 2 minutes of normal time remaining, and if we remember, it was an error by the New Zealanders which lost them the game against Saints. Cass going to do the same, grab it at the end. Irwin, thrilling finish, and if they score, Brendan Tuta will have a lot to answer for. Clark. Can Cass score? Can the New Zealanders hold out? Sampson. Still a couple of tackles to go. The line beckoning for Cass. French, Smith, McAllister. He's in touch. And the groans of disappointment can be heard from the Castleford supporters all round the ground. Coming up to the last minute of normal time, there might be a bit of added time. Penalty to Cass. Penalty to Cass. Well, the choice is, well, I think they'll run it. They'll surely run it to try and score a try. Yes, Tony Marchant. Crabtree. The crowd getting behind them. Clark, the big men crashing forward to make the wedges. Wonderful finish this. Beardmore inside the gap, opening up almost for Dean Sampson. New Zealand desperate to hold out. Gary French floats it out, and it rolls into touch and relief again, and this time it'll be head and ball to the tourists. Only seconds remaining plus added time. The Kiwis lead 22 points to 20. They've bossed the second half after being 20 points to 8 behind at half time, and they'll probably try to play 6 tackles now and hope that the hooter will go. Kevin Hero, yes, he knows what to do. Tuck it up his jersey, don't try to throw the ball, keep going if you can, but above all hold on to the ball. Kevin Hero, 21 years old but an old head on his shoulders. Don't try to throw the ball loose. 4 more tackles to go, and it's all time-consuming tactical stuff with a deep kick on the 6th. Nikau. Well, he's not waiting to the 6-1, he's banging it deep down. And it's St. John Ellis has got to come back and make an opening for Cass. They trail 22-20, and there it is, and the New Zealanders throw their hands in the air with delight, because it looked as if they were booked for their second consecutive defeat. They'd conceded 3 tries to 1 in the first half. They were down 20 points to 8, but they've come back in the second half, and some wonderful kicking by Phil Bancroft turned the tide. And finally, after captain Wayne Wallace had driven over the line, a superb try by Sherlock clinched it for the tourists. So the tour has now got off the ground. Castleford, they dominated the first half. They'll be disappointed that they didn't dominate the second. They rather let it go against that Kiwi revival. But they did have a weakened side and half a pack missing. Final score, Castleford 20, New Zealand 22.